Of course, what I've said tonight matters little if we don't come together to protect our most precious resource, our children.
In the fall of 2012, an art installation project began in Chicago. Various neighborhoods participated in the installation of sculpture in public spaces. This film was inspired by the pro-social behavior of local artist Indira Johnson. It documents her work on the 10,000 Ripples public art project for peace and expands to highlight the various ways the communities have been touched by the artwork.
I made some smaller pieces that I had exhibited with a smaller Buddha head. Yeah, but it was always a partial one because for me, that was how it was growing, just like we are all growing. So it was always partial. And from that, I decided to make a larger one, which is not the one of the 10,000 ripples, but an in-between one that's actually in there that you can see that size, which is made out of clay. And I made a mold and we cast, I think, 12 of them, which were then exhibited. There are so many Buddhas, obviously, in India and Afghanistan, and all through Southeast Asia, and they all have different faces. And so I didn't know exactly what I was looking for, but I knew I'd know what it was once I saw it. And so in one of my art history books, I saw this picture of a Buddha, which I really liked. And but I didn't like the hair. And so I've got the face of that Buddha, which actually came from Afghanistan. And then the hair, I looked from another Buddha, which is from India, where I wanted that the hair, the pattern of the hair, was the one where I took the face, has curly hair, has the hairs and curls, and it didn't have the effect that I wanted. And so then when I was doing the public art project, when I was looking for a name, that did look like ripples. And that's how the name 10,000 Ripples partly came from.
Chicago is the third largest city in the United States, with about 3 million people. It's located in Cook County, Illinois, and is home to a culturally diverse population. In 2011, the median family income in Cook County was $55,000 annually. Unfortunately, 16% of Chicago's families fall below the poverty line.
I'm Amanda Dykema-Ingblade, and I'm an associate faculty member in the Department of Psychology. My department chair, Saba Emanali, was involved with the Art in Response to Violence, and so Indira was working with her on this project, and I think she was interested in assessing how people felt about this public piece of art.
The Uptown neighborhood lies on Chicago's northeast side. It is comprised of a diverse cultural background, and there is no ethnic majority in this community. The income for Uptown households is between $27,000 to $35,000 a year. That's $20,000 less than the median income for the county.
So, in order to do any kind of art project in the neighborhood, you have to be able to partner with really strong neighborhood organizations that already have a mission to interact with the community, that have different constituents that are part of that organization. And so we went to neighborhoods where we knew the organizations and what they were doing already.
So Circus Team's mission is to unite youth from diverse backgrounds, that's economic, racial, and cultural, and help build self-esteem and confidence through the practice of circus arts. Well, we want to make circus accessible to everyone. We believe that all kids have the right to come and have fun with us, and that everybody could benefit from having self-esteem be boosted and connecting with one another. Uptown is one of the most diverse neighborhoods in the Midwest. There are so many different languages spoken in this community, and there's actually 13 languages spoken in our circus. So we have kids from Egypt and Ghana and Togo and Tanzania and Ethiopia and Mexico and Germany and Argentina and Burma who all come to our program every week. And they have the opportunity to really connect with people outside of their community. And I think that it goes both ways. So kids from the public school or the private school get to come and meet kids from other places in the world and learn about that. But I think in general, Uptown is a community in transition. There tends to be a lot of low-income housing here, but there's also a lot of gentrification going on. And so more and more condos are being developed, and there's quite a bit of tension, I think, in this community. And being able to provide a safe space for our students to go after school is really important. And I think the students from Uptown particularly benefit most from what we do, because we are so close and they can walk here. And we have programming 4 days a week. Our approach really is about just trying to keep them involved as much as possible. The more that they're with us, the less likely they're going to get into trouble. And so we try and keep them engaged. I think Buddha was a concept none of them knew about. Who or what is this? It's just some strange head. And so I think it piqued some curiosity for sure, and allowed the teachers to talk a little bit about the sculpture and what it may represent.
I grew up around Chicago, mainly the suburbs, but I've been familiar with Argyle and so far that my family's here. My grandma, and my mom came here from Vietnam. I saw one in front of the bank on Broadway, and it was within a more open space as opposed to this one, which is behind a storefront. It was a different environment, although it was the same Buddha. I think that one had two, this one is just one.
Was there a difference between seeing them in an open space and behind closed glass?
I think so, just because it's using a statue that it's almost a mold, that it almost like recalls plaster, that there's something like a motif about it, that it's like I've seen it before, or at least there is a familiarity, but I think it does change it within a context. I think oftentimes with religious art that it is within a practice or a ritual, and then sometimes if artists take advantage of that, if it's in a gallery space, it changes that context, like if it was a museum versus a gallery. And I think that it does seem that this artist is aware of those different nuances.
I'd like it to make an impact. What they feel, I think, depends on their experience, because everyone brings their experience to the viewing. And so, but I think the purpose of art is to make an impression, to get people to think about something, and hopefully they'll think about peace, about some way that they bring that into themselves and maybe spread it around, So that would be my hope, that that it impacts them in some fashion, as opposed to just passing by.
There was one other that I saw in the parking lot by the Argonne Theater, which in my mind felt like a really strange place for it because it didn't belong to anybody. And one day there was a lot of garbage all around it, and the next day the garbage was gone. And so I think the community is really taking to the sculptures and taking care of them in a way that may not normally happen with other pieces of art.
Lisa Hollis Sawyer, a colleague in our department, and I are teaching a service learning course in the spring. So we were approached about possibly figuring out a way to see if this public art piece was evoking sort of the feelings that Indira thought. So we're not interested in sort of the philosophy behind the presenting the sculpture, but seeing if there's a difference before and after the sculpture is placed in a public place.
I think, again, the community really can take ownership of something and feel pride, which is great for this community in particular. I think all communities really, but this one needs it.
The Albany Park neighborhood is also on the north side of Chicago. It too has no ethnic majority, but has a large Hispanic population. The income for Albany Park families is just a bit higher than Uptown, but still below the median for Cook County, around $35,000 to $40,000 a year. These Congo Nikisi nail figures were created by the North Park Elementary School children. Traditionally, these figures are used to bring people together who are in disagreement. These children's sculptures were created with a promise to be more peaceful. They sealed their promises as they pounded the final nails into their figures.
I thought that was an amazing project, that the artists and global explorers had done a great job with getting the students to understand about peace. And I actually posted one of the children's drawings, which was, she must have been, from the drawing it seemed like she was a pretty young child. And she had a person with a big gun and it said, "No guns." But the gun was much bigger than the person. And I had posted it, I think my only post that I've done, because it was right after the horrible incident. It just seemed that, that sometimes the children know more than what we know. They are the ones who say, no, this is not right, and yet people are debating. And you hear all of this debate that's going on, and where people are giving reasons why they need to have some of these horrible weapons where you can shoot so many people at one time. To me, it seemed like if we can get our children to understand, what it takes to live together and understand each other, and that is the way to go.
Yes, we do. We are Muslim, but we respect all the other religions, because in Saudi Arabia we have international people from everywhere, from America, Europe, Asia, Africa. So, but I have seen like something similar to this face, not here in America, in Malaysia in 2007, because some people there, I think a lot of people there like their religion Buddha or something. So I saw like this there. Here is the first time for me.
And yeah, as well in Bali, in Indonesia, a lot of people like.
So being Muslim, do you have any reaction to the sculpture being the Buddha at all, or
No,
No.
it's respectful for me. Okay, our religion said you have to respect the other religions.
Yeah.
It must respect. So it's okay with me, and I like to see people try to respond that and try to share what's going on, and that's fine with me. It's okay. If that's as you said, bring the peace and make the people more happy. That's okay. This is what we're looking for. Even Muslim, Buddha, whatever.
All we were looking for peace.
Yes. So if they try to get the peace, we'll try to share and help.
Well, historically, this part of town hasn't had much cultural activity or representation. And the arts are a great reflection of what's going on culturally in the neighborhood. And this is 60625, which is one of the most diverse zip codes in the country. And I thought, wow, they don't have a cultural representation here, so arts being a good reflection, this is, to me, was the best place to open up an art center and to have that community dialogue. Yeah. So Indira came to me and was like, I really like what's happening here, and she's like, I would like to, bring forth one of the Buddha heads as a place of safety, as a place of like renewal. And, I was like, oh, well, thanks. I really felt honored. And then started hearing from the community as they came in, saying, oh, I've seen those around, and there's one here and one there. And, they would ask me a little bit about it, and I would tell them about the 10,000 ripples and the what Indira was trying to just, show and not, not necessarily speak about, but allow people to get some sense of what that was about. And one of the things I thought was really, that impacted me was a woman came in and said, I passed this one Buddha head, just past the subway, and where I walk, which is an empty lot. And because I see that every day, I feel safe walking by it. And it gives me comfort to see it halfway through the lot, not somebody standing there. Or, I feel when it's there, I feel safer. I don't know why. And that made me curious. And people who come by here, who say like, oh yeah, I really like to see that every day. I think that's a meaningful thing, to have that sense of, and like, how do you say it, lifting you up as you're like just traveling in your way.
The South Chicago neighborhood is on Chicago's southeast side. This neighborhood is a majority African American population, surrounded by other African American communities. The annual household income is between $27,000 to $35,000, well below the median for the county. The South Chicago neighborhood has the highest crime rates of all of the communities that participated in this project for the fall.
Don't make the assumption that I can reach them all. I try to reach who I do with the richness of the reach, as opposed to the shotgun kind of like, hey, let's everybody do a workshop. I try to provide them with love and care and skills and belief. That's why it becomes so much more than just I'm just teaching them art. It becomes the Maslow pyramid. I start at the bottom with basic needs, and if you don't have those basic needs met, you're not going to move up on that pyramid. So I give them food, I give them shelter, I give them protection, and then I move it up as far as they want to go.
This community center, this art center rather, too, has been a haven for kids, a safe haven for them to come and participate in positive activities and, again, express themselves and meet with other kids from different areas, different lifestyles, and really participate in a positive activity. Show the kids that there's alternatives to some of the common things that they participate in right now. Unfortunately, gangs and drug activity. This is obviously a positive alternative.
I got involved with the art center through school. I used to do a lot of art in school, and the teachers liked my art that I was talented. Then they heard about the art center, so I came the first week they opened, 2001, and I've been coming there ever since. Sometimes we do stuff for self-awareness, like we did the 343 guns for the kids that got killed or shot in the school system. There was 343 of them that got killed or shot in the school system, so we did a gun to represent taking a gun off of the street for each one of them.
One of our kids, Trishan, who's actually in one of my first classes too, who was working for me over the summer, was with a young man up the street who'd gotten shot and killed. He got shot like 14 times. I mean, literally 14 times right next to her and another kid who were both, I've known since they were little itty bitty babies. And they held him while he died. And I was just like, I mean, all of the realities of the existence that the kids have to, they're so desensitized to. And that they're just like, that's just the way it is, you know? And they surrender to this quality of life that they don't need to surrender to, and they don't need to live. I was being taught in art therapy is that you don't want to make the viewer a victim. I wanted to make the viewer a victim in this, in a sense. I wanted them to look and be startled, not only by, like some people are startled by the guns, looking at guns, but startled by the amount of them, and that each one symbolized a kid that had been shot, a potential death. And then I thought, what a great way to get everyone to participate. So I went to Washington and Bowen, taught 240 of the kids in those two schools, and they all made guns, mostly paper. And then we did it after school here as well. And then I also, because I think, I really believe in the take a village kind of thing. And I reached out to all my friends who are artists and see if people want to participate in it. Because I think it's important not only to get visual playing field of like really skilled to basic, but also let people participate in something that's more powerful than their singular voice.
I made a few of them, like 3 of them. One of them was telling a story about my friend. When I was in school, his little brother got shot on his way to school. Then a couple of weeks later, 2 weeks later, he got shot. And he died. Well, both of them died. He was at a school party. Somebody shot him. I think it was great because it's supposed to represent bring beauty to a negative place. Like a lot of crime and stuff is going on. And they had a little plaque to another self-awareness thing about the community. But it was good until somebody stole it. Somebody came through, they liked the art too much and got a dolly and took it away. Some guy came through pretending he was playing with the leaves. The guy told us that he thought that they was just removing it, but he came and told us and we found out it was stolen. Because the plaque was still up there. He was like, oh yeah, someone stole it.
Sadly, community experience with crime is mirrored in Rogers Park. However, the aim to beautify the neighborhood through art is also reflected. Rogers Park is the farthest northern neighborhood in Chicago. It too is culturally diverse with no ethnic majority. The income is also well below the median county income at $27,000 to $35,000 a year per household. This neighborhood has the second highest crime rates of the fall installation neighborhoods.
So, for example, in Rogers Park, Partners for Rogers Park was an organization that we knew, and I had done work with some of the members of Partners for Rogers Park, Family Matters, and housing opportunities for women. So, knowing some of the people in the organization, you knew that you had an into the community then, because as an artist, I'm still an outsider in all of these communities. So you need to have someone who is part of the community, who knows the community.
It's a very diverse neighborhood. We have a lot of political dialogue, a lot of social dynamics going on. We have more than our share of tension. We have more than our share of crime. So it's an extremely vibrant neighborhood, and there are very few people that are just disengaged.
So I hadn't thought of crime per se. I had thought more of the effect that someone would have looking at this peaceful image and the symbol of peace, and on an individual level, feeling more peaceful. I hoped that in the events that took place around the sculpture, what the communities did in response to having the sculpture there, that those events would generate cultural understanding, interaction, which would then lead to a more peaceful community.
There's a concept of religious art and sacred art, as though the pieces of art in and of themselves have this inherent quality that they're sacred. The wrong people can't look at them. The wrong people can't say the wrong things about them. That it's as though the images and the pieces of art have a soul and an essence to themselves. But there's another way of looking at that. Personally, I think that any image, any piece of art is sort of neutral. It's like that unknowable smile of the Mona Lisa. Is she smiling? Is she playing games? What's going on? Well, the Mona Lisa is the Mona Lisa is the Mona Lisa. And what people bring to it and project upon pieces of sacred art, hopefully is respectful. Some people can approach pieces of art like that in a respectful manner, but not with a reverence, because they don't understand it, but they respect it. Similarly, there are people who can approach a piece of art and with intent, dark intent. They can disrespect it and claim that it's profane. Although the image itself isn't profane, it isn't sacred, it's just neutral, but people can confer upon it a sense of the sacred, a sense of the profane, a sense of the mysterious.
I'm really feel very good that people have adopted them, and so that they cannot bear to see them vandalized and want to immediately take care of it and bring them back to their original, the way they looked originally. So that's been very reassuring. We always thought that if something happened, we would take pictures of it, because it just shows an anger that you want to destroy something, and why is that? Maybe that becomes a topic in the community. Why does someone feel compelled to destroy a beautiful image, to vandalize it?
Rogers Park Business Association requested that this one emerging Buddha head be placed there as a contrast to the violence that was happening on that particular corner of the neighborhood. But the one that is out in the Dunes Restoration Project on the beach, it is just ultimately serene. And I had to go down there, even though it was a nasty day when Hurricane Sandy blew through Chicago. The lake was furious. The winds were extraordinary, and the Buddha was just sitting there as calm and peaceful as ever. So I shot some video, and I titled it, Calm Center in the Storm.
To evaluate the impact of the Buddha sculptures on crime behavior in these neighborhoods, this study used a matched pairs pre-test post-test design. The sculpture and non-sculpture neighborhoods were matched based on total crime for December in 2011.
I didn't think that automatically that the crime rate would go down. And, that had not been in my vision. If it does, that's a wonderful blessing, I would say, it'd be a wonderful outcome. But that had not been in my planning or my thought process when I was thinking of it.
Crime incidences were examined for the last 28 days of 2011 and 2012. Preliminary results indicated an overall decrease in crime for all neighborhoods. However, the sculpture neighborhoods demonstrated a statistically significant decrease in total crime for week 52, with a p-value less than 0.01, and a significant decrease in total crime for the month, the p-value of less than 0.02. The non-sculpture districts did not have a significant decrease in either category. The preliminary results are quite astounding, to have a significant decrease in total crime in the sculpture neighborhoods while the non-sculpture neighborhoods did not. This demonstrates, using a quantifiable measure, the social impact these art installations have on these communities. We have to keep in mind that these are preliminary test results. There's ongoing research examining the crime data from various time periods, and will be evaluated for the neighborhoods with spring 2013 installations. There are many confounds that may influence the crime incidences in addition to the sculptures. We can be hopeful, though. As more data is collected and analyzed, we will be better able to understand the effects of this artwork in these neighborhoods.